Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to completely strip away the science fiction to look at the hard, verified historical reality of literally the most famous stretch of desert on Earth. We are breaking down the true story of a Nevada installation shrouded in mystery and exploring what actually went down on that dry lake bed. Because as you'll see, when we look directly at the historical evidence, we uncover a reality that is honestly way more fascinating than the little green men we're all so used to hearing about.
It's a question that has haunted the public imagination for decades. What if the world's most secretive military base wasn't hiding aliens, but something even more extraordinary? I mean, for over half a century, rumors of crashed saucers and extraterrestrial visitors have totally dominated the conversation. But the truth of what was actually happening out there under the dark Nevada sky? It's a story of human ingenuity pushed to its absolute limits.
Chapter 1. Beyond the Alien Myths. Okay. Let's dive into this. To really understand the wild theories, we first have to ground this location in stark reality.
You know, the factual foundations of the base are pretty straightforward, but they're incredibly strategic. The installation itself is located at Groom Lake. It's this massive, flat, dry lake bed featuring a runway that is absolutely perfect for landing experimental aircraft. In fact, to put that into perspective, some of the runways built there over the years were up to 12,000 feet long. That's huge. It sits deep within the Nevada test and training range, totally surrounded by vast stretches of unforgiving desert landscape. And look, while it was denied for a very long time, its existence is now officially acknowledged by the U.S. government. So yes, it is a very real place with real runways and a very real purpose.
Chapter 2. Cold War Origins. To figure out why this base was built out in the middle of nowhere, we have to travel back to the intense geopolitical pressures of the 20th century.
Let's move to and see how this builds across our timeline here. In the early 1950s, Cold War tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were really spiking. The U.S. desperately needed overhead intelligence, which directly led to CIA involvement and their official approval in 1954 for a highly classified testing site. By 1955, the Groom Lake base was officially created, and it was built fast and kept completely off the books. By the late 1950s, urgent, top-secret aircraft testing had begun. So this wasn't about exploring the cosmos, right? It was about critical, immediate national security.
Chapter 3. The Secret Aircraft Programs. So, with the facility established, the skies above Groom Lake were about to host machines that totally defied the known limits of aviation.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it explains the birth of the UFO phenomenon in that area. Think about it. You have your standard commercial aircraft flying at normal altitudes. But then you have the U-2 spy plane, developed right there at Area 51 for Cold War missions, flying at upwards of 70,000 feet. That is way, way above normal air traffic. Plus, it had this highly unusual, glider-like silhouette. Catching the sun high up in the stratosphere, it practically guaranteed that anyone on the ground who managed to catch a glimpse would think they were looking at something from another world. The base's own cutting-edge technology accidentally sparked the very first UFO reports.
And the crazy thing is, the U-2 was just the beginning. The progression of aviation tech that followed was jaw-dropping. Take the A-12 Oxcart, built for extreme speed for CIA reconnaissance missions. Then you've got the legendary SR-71 Blackbird, capable of Mach 3+ flight. It was designed for high-altitude spying, where it could literally just outrun enemy missiles. Incredible, right? And finally, the F-117 Nighthawk, bringing in stealth technology for undetected strikes. Think about how surprising this is for a second. At a time when radar was supposed to see everything, they were flying an aircraft that was functionally invisible. To a civilian eye, seeing a completely silent radar-invisible, black angular triangle flying through the night sky, it absolutely wouldn't look human at all.
Chapter 4. The Wall of Secrecy. Obviously, building the most advanced aircraft in human history creates a massive logistical challenge. How do you hide the whole shebang from the public eye?
Well, you do it with an absolute lockdown. The airspace was heavily restricted. No civilian or military aircraft could cross it. The ground was surrounded by aggressive military warning signs and really intense perimeter patrols. You've probably heard of them. They're infamously known as the Camo Dudes, ensuring nobody got anywhere near the dry lake bed. They even set up secret Janet flights from Las Vegas, literally just to ferry workers in and out of the Nevada desert without arousing any suspicion. Thousands of people work there, yet officially, the place didn't even exist.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate irony of Area 51. The intense secrecy of the real projects inadvertently fueled the fake alien narratives. The government couldn't exactly say, hey, don't look over there, we're just testing the SR-71. They couldn't say anything at all, so the tighter the military held its factual secrets to protect national security, the wilder the public imagination ran to fill that void.
Chapter 5. Birth of the Conspiracy. Because when the government refuses to talk, culture rushes right in to fill the vacuum.
Area 51 stopped being just a military base and pretty much became a global brand. The pop culture explosion was absolutely massive. Best-selling books capitalized on rumors fueled by figures like Bob Lazar, who famously claimed he reverse-engineered alien crafts out there. Primetime television specials dedicated hours to speculating about what was inside those hangars, and of course, blockbuster Hollywood movies like Independence Day cemented this image of subterranean alien laboratories in the minds of millions. So the crucial point is that widespread conspiracy culture took the genuine, intense secrecy of the Cold War and completely rebranded it as a cosmic cover-up. Ultimately, the verified military history was just outgunned by the entertainment industry.
Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought. If Area 51 was built to test secret aircraft, if the historical evidence so clearly points to high-altitude spy planes and revolutionary stealth technology, why do alien stories still dominate its reputation? Honestly, perhaps it's because the reality of what humans achieved out there on that dry lake bed is so incredible it still feels a little bit like magic.
All right, let's dive right into this explainer and crack open the dossier on what is arguably the most famous and definitely the most restricted military airbase on the planet. I mean, we're talking about Area 51. Nestled way out there in the barren Nevada desert, this place has completely captured our collective imagination for decades. It's a spot where secrecy is literally the ultimate currency. So today, we're going to strip away the fiction, dig into the declassified facts, and figure out what's really hiding out there in the sand.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the Area 51 legend. Then, we're going to decode the major myths, see what the evidence actually shows, explore the pop culture phenomenon, and finally, get to the real military secrets.
Section 1. The Area 51 legend. The secret history. You know, long before the internet memes and viral raids, this remote Nevada site was actually a highly classified testing ground for experimental aviation. And that brings up our very first big mystery. Civilians, commercial pilots, they were spotting these impossible aircraft moving at unprecedented speeds and crazy altitudes. So if these weren't UFOs, what exactly were people seeing in that restricted night sky?
Section 2. Decoding the major myths. Fact versus fiction.
Let's talk about those major claims, the ones that have really fueled the mythology for decades. We're talking alien spacecraft, recovered UFOs, the Roswell connection, reverse engineering, underground bases, and extraterrestrial technology. Honestly, it's a sci-fi fan's absolute dream list. But what does the actual historical record say about all this?
Well, let's take the claim of recovered UFOs and the Roswell connection. When we weigh that idea, that a crashed saucer was shipped straight to the desert against actual historical aviation context, and the total lack of credible declassified proof, the likelihood of recovered UFOs drops significantly. The logistics of it simply don't align with the military realities of that era. Not even close.
And the exact same goes for the claim about reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology in these massive underground bases. When you look at historical opinion, award-winning military historians and aerospace experts broadly agree here. It's highly unlikely and entirely unsupported by military reality. There's absolutely no credible evidence for secret subterranean labs, especially given the physical and geological realities of that specific area.
So that leaves us with a massive, glaring question, right? If there is no extraterrestrial technology, why is the secrecy surrounding the base so incredibly intense? Why the heavily armed guards, the completely restricted airspace, the decades of total government denial? Well, that's the perfect curiosity hook to lead us right into examining the actual declassified data.
Section 3. What the evidence shows, the declassified reality.
Thanks to things we have in the confirmed column, like declassified CIA documents, high-res satellite imagery, and verified accounts from former employees, we know for a fact the base is a hub for cutting-edge military research. But then look at the unknown column. We've got current classified military research and next-generation aviation. We know they are building unprecedented aircraft out there. We just don't know what they look like yet.
Take a look at this quote. Declassified CIA documents and former employee accounts reveal a history of experimental military research and aviation, not alien encounters. And that really hits the nail on the head. The U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 Blackbird, the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter, they were all born here.
To an untrained eye in the 1950s and 60s, these revolutionary high-altitude aircraft absolutely looked like they were from another planet.
Section 4. The Pop Culture Phenomenon, Hollywood and Myths.
Looking at this timeline, you can clearly track how pop culture shaped the Area 51 myth over the years. It starts way back with sensationalized Hollywood films and speculative TV documentaries really planting the seeds. Then, internet theories acted like a massive accelerant, which eventually culminated in that viral 2019 Storm Area 51 event where millions playfully RSVP'd online to raid the base.
It really makes you ask, how did a remote military airbase become the center of a global cultural phenomenon? It is fascinating how our human desire to believe in the extraordinary allowed blockbusters and internet theories to basically overwrite public perception. But as we're seeing, the reality of this aerospace engineering is honestly just as compelling as the fiction.
Section 5. The Real Military Secrets, Modern Defense.
To really grasp the ongoing secrecy, we just need to look at this step-by-step pipeline. Step 1. Modern defense research. This theoretical work then evolves into Step 2. Experimental aircraft development. And finally, Step 3. Strict national security protocols. This remote desert location provides the absolute perfect isolated airspace to test tech that keeps a nation ahead of its rivals. And this matters to all of us because billions in tax dollars and vital national security strategies rely on keeping these specific geopolitical advantages totally under wraps.
So what is Area 51 most likely hiding today? If you look at this chart, military experts and aerospace historians broadly agree the focus is entirely made up of experimental aircraft, modern defense research, and classified military tech. Notice what's missing? There's absolutely no slice for extraordinary alien claims. The reality here is grounded strictly in next-generation terrestrial defense strategy.
But, the mystery continues because the precise nature of modern experimental military technology remains strictly classified. Even though experts agree on what kind of work generally happens there, advanced stealth, unmanned drones, hypersonic flight, the specific multi-billion-dollar aircraft being tested remain locked tightly away in those hangars. And to protect national security, the military fully intends to keep it that way.
As we close this dossier, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. What will the next generation of classified aircraft flying over the Nevada desert actually look like? I mean, when those hangar doors open in the dead of night 10 or 20 years from now, what impossible technology is going to take to the sky? The extraterrestrials might be a myth, but the pursuit of the absolute cutting edge of human flight, that is very real, and it's happening out there right now. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes on the skies.